those of you that aren't familiar with our story, we trade under the symbol BRC on the TSX Venture, and we're also on the OTCQB under the symbol BKRRF. And if you're over in Germany, we're traded on the Frankfurt under AHZ. But yeah, I don't know anyone brave enough to try that one out. But if you are, let me know how that goes. I'm certainly going to be making some forward-looking statements today. We've got a lot to look forward to in the near future here. We've been drilling our project turning into Swiss cheese since about the end of June. We've only reported 16 drill holes. I think we've completed around 30 at this point. So we've got a lot of assay results coming down the pipe, and some are going to be burning a hole in my pocket pretty soon here. So I'm not sure when the last conference was, but I know we did a big one with Jacob and our executive chairman, Bill Howell, right before that big run-up, which was on the back of our very first drill hole into our Tonopah West project, which added about $100 million to our market cap at the time. And I guess made my phone number available to Eric Sprott, who came calling the very next day, wanting to put some money into the company. As Rick Rule says, any good new discovery story is going to pull back about 50% at one point before the next leg up. And guess what? That's what we've seen just in the past a few months. Obviously, since that discovery hole, we ran from about 40 cents to $1.60 in the span of about 3 days. And since then, we've been consolidating along with the rest of the market. The gold and silver equities have just had a bit of a retraction ever since the beginning of August. And what exacerbated it for us was the fact that we made a lot of people some serious money in a very, very quick period of time. So there's some people taking off some profits along the way, cycling out shareholders that were in at, we were trading at 7 cents on October 15th. Of this year. So we're cycling out those investors with a 10-cent and 20-cent cost base, with those, getting in priced around a dollar a share range. And I think now we've got to have chewed through the last of that cheap stock, at least from my estimation, because we did a financing in June, closed June 5th. It was for $4.5 million at 20 cents. Well, guess what happened beginning of October? That 4-month hold came off, and all these shareholders were up about 5x, 4 to 5x just on their shares. And I don't know what it would work out to with the half warrants at 30 cents brought in there. But we sure churned through a lot of stocks since then. We've traded about 12 million shares just in the past 15 trading days. Today's a fairly quiet day in the market. But I think we've eaten through a lot of those people looking to take some profits from that. And we're now well poised, I think, to really make a move on should our next results be in line with what we've been drilling so far. I will touch on our team very quickly, because anytime a company goes on a run like we have, you want to know if they're prepared for it. When I joined the company, it was $1.2 million market cap and trading at around 3 cents. I told people my first interview, I said it was embarrassing to have to come in here and clean this, turn the ship around. I never wanted to be running a $5 million company, and we didn't set out to build one. We set out to build something that was capable of turning into $1 billion company one day, and we've since reconstituted the entire board. The first hire we made was Bill Howell, executive chairman. He serves as our VP exploration too. He's calling all the shots for us down in Nevada. He's former head of exploration for Placer Dome. He had oversight over all of their stuff in Nevada. Placer Dome was the mover and shaker down there up until their takeout by Barrick for about $10 billion US in 2005. He was coming off a big win previously too before he joined on here with a $128 million sale of his bench strength too, which is David Lang. David was formerly COO of Equinox Gold. He's worked with everyone from Ross Beatty, Marco Day, Frank Justra. He's probably been on 5 of the best powerhouse mining teams over the past few decades. He's probably the biggest mining name that people don't know. But who are we as a company? We're focused on 2 things: big ounces and big grade. We've got 2 projects in Nevada. The commonality between them is they're both low sulfidation epithermal targets. Our main bread and butter is the Tonopah West property. That's the one that our entire move has been made on in the past few months. That's just caused quite a fervor. And that's the one where our very first drill hole, we encountered about 30 meters of nearly a kilogram per ton silver equivalent in the very first drill hole into an area on our project. So that's a hell of a start. We've now since released 16 drill holes. From that, we've hit 14 different significant intercepts. And when I say significant, I'm talking ranging from a cutoff grade we're using, which is 300 grams per ton silver equivalent, all the way up to 4,600 grams per ton silver equivalent. And these are all at mineable widths, at least what we're talking about. A meter and a half is the smallest one, all the way up to 30 meters in thickness. So, we're effectively fishing with dynamite on what is the maiden drill program ever into the core of our project here. And looks like we've got a monster by the tail. Tonopah itself is a consolidation of one of the largest historic silver districts in all of North America, certainly and easily one of the highest grade ones too. Tonopah is second only the Comstock lode in Nevada in terms of historic silver production, where it produced about 174 million ounces of silver, nearly 2 million ounces of gold. And that was really just in the span of about 2.5 good decades before commercial production really went into the ground when precious metals prices collapsed at the onset of the Great Depression. Well, guess what? No one's been back into these historic workings, these historic mines since then. We're the first group to drill into them, and we're pulling up bonanza stuff. Our second project is called Silver Cloud. It's in north central Nevada, the most prolific gold mining region in North America. It's sort of neck and neck with Waterstrand Belt in South Africa as the potentially the largest gold mining complex in the world. We've got 45 square kilometers there, where two of the most prolific gold belts meet, called the Carlin Trend and the Northern Nevada Rift. Because Tonopah is really stealing the show, what we announced recently was that we're going to be spinning out Silver Cloud into a brand new company. That's significant because our entire valuation right now is tied up with Tonopah. That's at least how we see it. Well, Silver Cloud this time last year was our only asset. And this time last year, we had about a $25 to $30 million market cap, depending on the day. What we're proposing is for every 3 shares you own in Blackrock right now, you're going to get 1 share in the new company. That means we're going to be creating a separate vehicle amidst a backdrop of what looks like it's the beginnings of a major secular bull market here in gold and silver, and it's going to have a tier 1 project in it, which I've had many people say it looks like it could be the next logical discovery up there in northern Nevada. But I want to be taking up the majority of my time today telling you about Tonopah, because at the end of the day, Nevada is known as the silver state for one reason, and that's partly Tonopah and the Comstock lode, but Tonopah was the last and largest big silver discovery in Nevada, and it is a part of Nevada mining history at this point. So Tonopah, what makes it unique is, most silver primary districts are in very far-flung places. Generally, the plurality of ounces of silver produced in Latin America, generally it's a byproduct of base metals, which who knows how they're going to react moving forward. But if people think that gold and silver are going to be getting a bid, then you want a pure play precious metals district that's able to really scale things up in the back of a good run in silver prices, for example. Well, Tonopah historically produced a 100-to-1 silver gold ratio. The only other comparable districts I can think of would be down in southern Mexico, for example. Well, you know what? There's a whole lot of issues you inherit when you go down there. You don't need mercenaries to walk us to our project, and we don't need a special police force. You can literally roll out of bed because we're right next to a town and walk over to the rig. There's a subway and an A&W within about 5 minutes of where we're drilling right now. So in that sense, our drillers and our geologists are spoiled as well. So as I said, we're the first group to target into these historic workings. And really, this is more of a real estate consolidation than an exploration prowess. What we're doing is mine expansion style drilling. This is the definition of a brownfield mining camp, and we control more than half of this massive silver district. One thing that makes a Tonopah really stand out, as I said, also is the grade. Over 50 years of production history that we have, 30 years of that would have been a high level commercial production. It averaged producing at over 2 kilograms per ton silver equivalent. So ultra high grade stuff. The story of Tonopah can really be told on this bar chart here, and it sort of overlays with some very significant developments in early 20th century history, which makes me wish I paid a bit more attention to that class in high school. But the discovery of Tonopah was made in 1900. They literally started mining these veins from surface right away. It set out the last big claim staking rush during the gold rush time. This is Wild West sort of stuff. Nevada as a state was really hurting after the Comstock lode got mined out. I think it would have been in the 1880s, and literally nothing was happening in Nevada in terms of the gold mining business. There were no discoveries. Well, in 1900, a prospector and his mule stumbled upon a big outcropping vein in the middle of the desert. And Tonopah was born. It set off this massive claim staking rush out there. People from far and wide came, and it actually led to multiple other nearby significant discoveries like Goldfield and Bullfrog. But Tonopah really is what's known for reviving Nevada, and it's to this day one of the most significant discoveries there. You'll see it was a hockey stick chart. Graph up in terms of initial production. The red line there is the gold equivalent ounces produced. It was going well all until about World War I. And then things took a turn. The biggest turn and the final sort of death blow to the industry was in the mid-1920s when silver prices became unpegged. They went from $1 an ounce down to 65 cents an ounce the next year. And then by 1930, there were 35 cents an ounce. It sent a lot of companies belly up, and that was really the last time anyone's taken a look at it. It's literally been hiding in plain sight ever since, which is incredible to me. There's a museum on the property talking about the significance of the Tonopah Silver District. This is a hub for the Walker Lane now, but 100 years ago, this was one of the most significant precious metals jurisdictions in all of the United States. Now, I said this is like a real estate consolidation because it is. This is the first time anyone has had this consolidated position in history. We've brought together multiple former past producing publicly traded mining companies' properties all to one. What you'll see here on this map on the right-hand side of your screen is the various parcels of claims that we brought together and married for the first time. Now, the most interesting and the real secret sauce behind our success here is the blue parcel at the top. This blue parcel was the holdings of a company that was known as the Tonopah Extension Company, Extension Mining Company. It was one of the largest producers in Tonopah, and it had a serious board. It would have been the equivalent of a mid-tier producer by today's standards. When it went belly up, due to low metals prices and a lot of debt that it had because they were still doing a lot of development work and didn't have enough ore in front of their face to pay off all that stuff, they went into receivership. The person who bought all of these claims out of bankruptcy kept this in his family for the last 90 years. He ended up passing away 3 years ago, and this parcel was only picked up in February of this year. It was consolidated by illegal royalties. The day they got their hands on this property is the day we signed the deal with Ely to get it and consolidate all three of these parcels together. A lot of mining companies brag about proximity to infrastructure, be it a highway or electrical lines nearby. We literally have a highway running across our property. We've got electricity. I mean, you can see there's a town right next door to us. Well, guess what? We're spoiled. We've got hotel, we've got foods, we've even got casinos, and these are all walking distance. As I was telling you, this is our drill rig in the background. The comfort in there, that's where our executive chair is staying right now. Overseeing the drillers. You can literally walk to a Subway, get a sandwich, and go sit on the drill rig. It's pretty exceptional. So we're in the drill-driven game here. We're midway through our first maiden campaign. We're doing 30,000 meters by the end of the year. We've probably completed 15,000 so far. I think that would be about 30 drill holes. We've now released 16. We've got a whole bunch of stuff at the lab. We've got 3 rigs turning. And most importantly, we seem to be connecting as we're modeled. As you'll see, here's our key intercepts that we've listed right now. These are world-class numbers. I mean, we've got 5 intercepts assaying at over a kilogram per ton silver equivalent. We've seen gold values as high as 26 grams per ton. Our highest pure silver values over 2 kilos. Our riskiest drilling, from my perspective, would have been our first few holes, because what we're basing everything off of was on hand-drawn maps from 100 years ago, historic reports from 100 years ago, and trying to just guesstimate where things might line up in reality. Well, guess what? We told the market on our very first drill hole that we're going to be drilling into something that the records indicated was about 24 meters thick, a vein that was 24 meters thick when they stopped mining it. Well, as you can see from hole 1 here, what did we hit? We hit something that was 29 meters thick and a kilogram per ton silver equivalent, 965, literally exactly as we called it. The surprising thing was we actually hit 2 other 3-meter vein zones on top, which we weren't expecting, because back in those days they were mining, they did zero drilling. They just mined these things from surface. They followed these veins down dip in a long strike, and they followed everything out to the west. So the town of Tonopah, to the east of us, that's where the original discoveries were. And then as they started mining these veins from surface, they followed them to the west. Well, guess what? We control the entire western half of this, which is also where the last production ever took place. You'll notice we've got another target here called Ohio. Ohio was operated by another mining company. It's clearly the same vein that we hit in the Victor area. And it was called Ohio just because every individual mining company called their section whatever they wanted to. We just finished 5 drill holes in the Ohio target. It represents a 3rd historic mine on our property. Those assays are pending. Ohio, where they were mining that in the mid-1920s, the vein was 15 meters thick. Over in Victor, it got up to about 24 meters thick. We're hoping to make a discovery announcement on Ohio soon. If obviously that's in the hands of the lab right now, but if we can tie these two things together, we're going to be bringing a whole lot of life left to the district. Our most significant target on the entire property is DPB. DPB was the last producing mine in the district when production shut down. They actually did development work further beyond where they stopped mining, but they ever got around to pulling out the ore and processing it. So we're literally drilling into something that they did development work on and just never got around to mining. We've proven our concept there. We've got quite a few significant intercepts to follow up. Our most significant one was on the Merton vein, and it's not pictured here because it's actually off down along strike off of this section now. Where you see hole 7, 1.5 meters of 386 grams per ton on the Merton vein. Well, guess what? 100 meters down, 120 meters down, we hit another 1.5 meter zone on the same vein. It was 4,600 grams per ton. This is 100 meters, so we're seeing a variation. Now, what I'd expect would be for things to skew towards that district average, which was around that 2 kilogram per ton head grade that they have. So we've got a lot of high grade hits in this area at one pierce point. What's going to happen when we have multiple pierce points into all of this? This is open up dip and down dip. We've established 500 meters worth of a strike now, or we've established a step out 500 meters down strike on this too. So it's clear the historic miners left a lot of good stuff for us. We are going to be drilling Silver Cloud next week as well. We've got a 3,500 meter program there. That's primarily testing our Northeast Veins target, which is directly adjacent to Hollister. At Hollister, they mined their veins effectively right up to a property boundary. When Hollister was in its heyday, it was said by mining.com that it was the 2nd highest grade gold mine on the planet that year. It was producing a 34 gram per ton head grade. So that could be the sleeper hit. We're planning to spin that out in early 2021. We'll be drilling that in the interim regardless, because we don't want to sit on these targets, so a lot can happen. But for now, that's it. We've got a lot of assays to look forward to. At Tonopah, we're hitting at a very, very high level, and this is bonanza grade stuff we're pulling out. And if we're right, I mean, we think the upside here is about up to about 6 million tons at up to about 2 kilograms per ton silver equivalent. That's hundreds of millions of ounces of silver if we're right. And it ain't Mexico. It's not the Yukon. This is Vegas, baby.